Nah, 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 nah. I'm here to call you all out. I'm here to call you shit bags out because you don't watch these videos. You don't watch these videos. The last one I did, it didn't even pass 100 views. I'm disappointed in you all. This is my favorite series, and you're out here just ignoring Terry Lynn. You're ignoring these great albums that I'm recommending. You, 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 at least some of you are watching though, and that's good. That makes me at least a little bit happy. But the irony is that me calling people who aren't watching these videos out won't even see me calling them out because they're not watching the bloody video. But anyway, this has been a great discovery recently, and I do want to shout out my boy Kyle. Kyle on Twitter, New Dawn Fades. Check him out. I might put a link in the description just because he is really the reason why I think many people have found out about this album. Actually, it started to really go quite viral across like the music Twitter people, which obviously viral in that sense is like really small. It's like 0.2% of like existing people on Twitter. But I don't usually see albums like from years and years ago get this much hype, so I was pretty happy to see that an album like this really started to gain a bit of a momentum. I'm seeing people really praise the hell out of it, and I'm glad because I think it's freaking great. So I thought it'd be good to capitalize on the hype in a sense, and also push the album a little bit further onto more people who watch these videos who otherwise wouldn't have heard about it. And yeah, just this is what I do with this series, and that's what I like to do. So this is a Japanese band creating experimental avant-garde jazz, a term that is a bit pretentious, I must admit, but I think this album definitely deserves that term, if any album ever did. It's big band music, so you're getting a lot of people coming together, creating a massive cacophony of sound across the whole thing. Like, there is so much effort that's gone into creating this album, you just have to appreciate it from afar. It would be very difficult not to, while also recognizing the amount of individual talent that each member has to somehow just make everything so chaotic and noisy, while also bringing in this melody that somehow carries each track and makes them distinct from each other. It's really impressive. Now, usually my response to big band music is, wow, this is very impressive from a musical standpoint, it's very technical, but I don't really enjoy it. Whereas this artist here, Shibusashirazu, is just creating a fantastic amount of excitement. Like, this album is just so exciting. It's like the sweatiest circus you'll ever attend in your life. And I do not advocate for that at the moment because I think that might be a way of catching COVID-19. So I'm not advocating for any of that. But maybe, you know, maybe if you want to go just to experience it, maybe go. It's a sweaty circus. It's kind of cool. The tracks on here as well just seem to keep going. Like, there's a point where you just think a song's going to end, but it just never knows when to stop. And I love that about this album, because sometimes with albums, you'll have really long tracks and you're like, this could have stopped by now. Whereas on this album, I'm like, this could have stopped by now. But by God, I'm glad it hasn't stopped. By far the best example of that is the longest track on here, Space is the Place, which is just an unbelievably ceremonious song. It's so celebratory in the way that, you know, the saxophones are just blaring, and it's really hard to quite capture what they're doing here without really ruining what they're doing, because sometimes you can over-explain music, and I think that ruins the enjoyment value of what the music is doing. But like, it is really quite difficult to just capture what they're doing without just listening to it. But to go back to what I said earlier though, I think the important factor here with this album to take into account is that while it's very intense and can definitely put off some listeners if it's a bit too much, I think this could be a bit too much for some people. But at the same time, when you just start paying attention to like the intricacies, the little details, the minor instruments that you sort of hone in on, you really start to notice that actually it's not just a whole bunch of noise. It's in fact very satisfying, especially for me as a listener for this one. It really does just really reach into that part of me that I'm just not really quite expecting. Each time I keep putting this album on, I'm just like, wow, I keep not realizing what this album is offering. I think my favorite track though has got to be the closer. I think this is actually the best track of the whole thing. Theme of Honda Commutin, my god, this one, holy shit, it's like listening to the soundtrack of like an army just ready to charge. Like they're at the front lines, they've got their swords at the ready, they're ready to fight off the demons, because if they don't, the world is about to end. Everything is just about to climax. You've got Liam, the music reviewer, stood there very wholesomely with his sword too, ready to fight off these bastards. It's the one track I think that just captures everything that every other track did, but somehow taking it to a new level and elevating it to a point that I just didn't really expect the album to do by the time you get to the 8th track. Because there are only 8 tracks, but the album is an hour long in total. So again, I think this could probably be an experience for you where you just get a bit tired or it gets a bit much. But I don't know, man, I'm really loving this. I think it's a great release from 2004, by the way. It's a 2004 album, and I'm just incredibly impressed. So once again, thank you to Kyle. Obviously, he's been a big part of pushing this album, and I appreciate that a lot. Just really goes to show how, like, you know, a music community can really do a lot to push an album really far, and just give it attention that it deserves, and I appreciate that. Great album, think it's definitely an undiscovered gem, and hopefully we'll get more traction as time goes on. But if you haven't listened to it already, please go listen to it. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching my review, or well, my video. Well, it's a review, I guess. Thank you. Have a good day. Subscribe and bye.